On the Nairobi-Nakuru Highway, there is a dangerous black spot that has taken more than 30 lives in just 2 months. In the month of September 2025 and January 2026, Kikopey became a notorious black spot, a silent killer. Accidents happening at the same place, involving the same type of vehicles, crashes happening in almost the same way every time. No one seems to know why. Some people whisper about curses and bad omens. But one question keeps coming back. Why does Kikopey take so many lives? And what is really behind it? Today, we look at the lives lost at Kikopey and how mysteriously identical they are. Welcome to Fatal Journeys, where we honor the lives behind the headlines and seek light in the stories that ended too soon. For most of us, Kikopey is just a stopover, a place to grab some nyama choma, stretch your legs, take a snack or two, or even fuel the car. But a look closer, and this seemingly ordinary patch of the A104 highway has a far darker story. Located between Nakuru and Gilgil, Kikopey sits on a route that trucks rest on their way to Kisumu, Uganda, and beyond. The road itself appears simple and unremarkable, a stretch that might fool anyone into thinking it is safe. Yet, this short section has become one of the deadliest black spots in the country. Even small miscalculations turn fatal. Today, we pull back and look at the incidences that caused the accidents in September and January and the families that lost their lives. September 28, 2025 was a Sunday, a day meant for church, for visiting relatives and relaxing. For Susan Wanjiru and her family, this was a perfect day to visit their relative who had been sick for some time. Plans for this visit had been ongoing for about a month, and the plans included financial contribution. The contributions were sent to Susan. They planned to shop for their sick relative and also to set some aside to hire transportation. Therefore, they decided to hire a matatu, a sensible, practical, and common decision for many Kenyan families. Susan was at the center of this decision to visit her auntie. But at the last minute, she decided not to go. She would be represented by her son, Elijah Mboro, who was named after her father. Elijah was usually the designated driver of the family whenever they traveled together. Susan bid them goodbye, this being the very last time she saw her family. The Manyeki family had organized to pick every member of the family from their home, therefore started the journey early. They started at about 6:30. The destination was a place called Rongai in Nakuru County. By 10 a.m., Elijah, their driver, had picked everyone. But at 12 noon, when they reached Kikopey, everything changed. A CCTV camera in a nearby petrol station captured what would become the deadliest single accident on this road. The matatu they were in is seen driving as if nothing is wrong. Then suddenly, it starts to veer onto the other lane. This was unusual because Elijah was an experienced driver. You see, he had worked for the 2NK Circle as a driver for about 6 years. He also had been a school driver, driving and picking kids from home every day. Therefore, by all measure, this was unusual for him. As he veered to the next lane, another strange thing happened. Elijah was not overtaking. It was as though he was headed towards an oncoming truck. But this happened for a short 8 seconds. On this road, 8 seconds is all it took. The matatu collided with the oncoming truck in a head-on collision. Both vehicles veered off the road and rolled. the impact echoing across the valley with a violent bang. Susan's entire family was gone in a single moment. That afternoon, she lost her father Elijah, her mother Lydia. She also lost her 4 sisters, Catherine, Pauline, and her twin sisters, Joyce and Naomi. Susan was left as the only sister still alive. She also lost her aunties and 3 of her uncles. Her 29-year-old son Elijah died in the crash too. Another of the members of her family, Stephen Gishero, lost his wife, Nyawera, and their 4-year-old daughter. 16. That is how many people Susan lost in one afternoon. Her parents, her sisters, her child, her family. Everyone was gone. This plunged her village in Kandara into deep mourning, and Susan would never be the same again. Even if the road had taken 16 of Susan's family, Kikopey was not done yet. In the first few days of 2026, Kikopey claimed more lives in yet another road accident. James Njoroge and his wife Teresia Wairimo, with their 3 children, were headed home from their Christmas holiday. You see, the couple lived in Kiambu and had an ancestral home in Gatundu. They had gone to Gatundu to celebrate Christmas with their extended family. They left on the first weekend of January, just in time for schools to be opened the next week. As they were on their way, a bus veered off the lane onto their lane and hit the matatu they were in. The crash was sudden, violent, and final. James was gone. Teresia was gone. Their baby boy, Mark, 1 year old, never got a chance to grow up. Michael, just 6 years old, died too. A boy who should have been picking out his school uniform. A single moment that took an entire family, except one. Their 10-year-old daughter had been sitting in the back of the matatu. She survived with severe injuries, broken, alone, waking up in a hospital bed to a world that no longer had her parents, no longer had her brothers. She had left Gatundu, a family of 5. She arrived without them. But despite all this, Kikopey still had more to take. Just before midday, at 10:30, on the 19th of January, another similar accident happened. A heavy trailer was coming down the stretch toward Nakuru. From the outside, there was nothing unusual about it. But as it approached the slope, something went wrong. The trailer began to drift. In a few seconds, it crossed onto the opposite lane, directly onto oncoming traffic headed to Nairobi. There was no time to react. The first impact was a 14-seater matatu from the 2 and 3 circle. The truck slammed into it head-on. But since the truck was quite big and heavy, the impact from the matatu did not slow it down. It hit a second matatu, which was still full of passengers. It didn't end there. It also hit a private vehicle that was behind the matatu. That was one truck hitting 3 vehicles with immense force. The force was so violent that the wreckage was dragged off the road entirely. Because this accident had a pile of cars being dragged out of the road, came a serious death toll with it. 8 of them died on the spot, and 5 of them were severely injured. Once again, Kikopey fell silent. The question wasn't just how it happened, it was why it kept happening. What is certain is that Kikopey is unusual. Some speak of omens, dark forces, and curses. Locals believe that this place has dark spirits causing all the accidents. However, When loss is unbearable and lives are lost constantly, fear starts to take shape and find a home. But the truth is quieter, more stable, and unchanging. Police have a more direct answer. They say that Elijah was tired and dozed off behind the wheel, a claim that his boss denied, saying that Elijah was a very good driver. As for the truck, the police said that brakes failed and it went to the opposite lane. They believe that the black spot is not because it is cast, because of fatigue, poor maintenance, reckless driving, and mechanical issues. Sometimes the answers are simple, yet they seem unsatisfactory. The road is still there, narrow, steep, unforgiving. And until something changes, it will keep demanding lives.